Not all that long ago that the Jim Crow laws were enacted. And these were a group of laws that were in effect in the southern and border states between 1876 and 1965. And I know there are folks who are old enough to remember that. And so what these laws mandated is that African American people were separate but equal under the law. And so in reality, what this really led to is separate services on whether it's public transportation, public schools, but often the treatment and the accommodations were not equal. They were often subpar. And I would also point out in the Pacific Coast states, racism was primarily directed against resident Asian immigrants. Several immigration laws discriminated against Asians, and at different points in time, ethnic Chinese and other groups were banned from immigrating into the United States. And in California, Chinese and Japanese immigrants could not own land. They were denied permission to own land. And let us not forget, during World War II, our government, and again, let's not forget our Native American brothers and sisters, many of whom were relegated to reservations, and the treaties signed with them were violated. And tens of thousands of Native American and Alaskan Natives were forced to attend residential school system, which sought to re-educate them in the white settler American values, culture, and economy. The goal was to, quote, kill the Indian, save the man, unquote. Discrimination is not limited to race. Anti-Semitism has played a role in our history. During the late 19th and early 20th centuries, hundreds of thousands of Jews escaped from Europe, boarding boats, from ports on the Baltic Sea and in northern Germany, arriving primarily in Nellis Island, but only to escape Europe and to face discrimination at the immigration port authorities. Anti-Catholic sentiments also were intertwined with anti-Irish sentiments, and that was evident even in the presidential campaign of John F. Kennedy, although he was elected as the United States' first Catholic president. There obviously are other civil rights abuses, not only in this country but elsewhere, but it is really through the African American civil rights movement that the Civil Rights Act of 1964 came into being. And the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is a landmark piece of civil rights legislation in the United States. It outlawed discrimination based on race, color, religion, gender, or national origin. It ended unequal application of voter registration requirements and racial segregation in schools, at the workplace, and by facilities that serve the general public. Powers were given to enforce the act were initially weak, but were supplemented during later years. Congress asserted its authority to legislate under several different parts of the United States Constitution, principally its power to regulate interstate commerce under Article 1, its duty to guarantee all citizens equal protection of the laws under 14th Amendment, and its duty to protect voting rights under the 15th Amendment. The act was signed into law by President Lyndon B. Johnson on July 2nd, 1964, at the White House. And our country has made many strides. We need to continue working, however, to ensure that everyone is afforded their full rights. The cries for freedom, equality, and unity heard in America in the 1960s are the same heard in Mecca at the time of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. In Islam, we are asked to stand up for the oppressed and to fight oppression of all kinds. It was racial oppression that plagued African Americans in this country. It was religious and ideological oppression that plagued the early Muslims in Arabia. Muslims were ousted from their homes and killed because of their belief in one God. In essence, the struggles were the same, fighting for justice and equality. It's important to recognize that the similarity between these struggles for righteousness are the same. And that means all of us, Muslims and non-Muslims, work together as neighbors. We need to work together to ensure the existence of equality today. Islam calls for a world where all persons are created equal, with no real distinction between race. This civil rights message, this human rights message, is inherently and deeply a Muslim message. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, told us in his farewell sermon in the year 632 AD, all mankind is from Adam and Eve. An Arab has no superiority over a non-Arab, nor a non-Arab over an Arab. Also, a white has no superiority over a black, nor a black has any superiority over white, except by piety and good action. So what this means is that heaven is not about what we look like, but heaven really is what is in the heart. It's about the purity of heart. It's about piety. It's about good actions. Dr. Martin Luther King stated so eloquently, the ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over that by the good people. It is thus up to all of us to show our pride in the virtue of our respective faiths. All of what we teach, all of that of what we learn and teach is about loving the neighbor, equality, freedom, and justice. Interfaith gatherings and living by public example are the very least we can do to have a voice against the bigotry. It's a peaceful war against ideological oppression. So don't underestimate this interfaith gathering tonight. And I really encourage all of you to sit with people you don't know, sit with someone of a different faith, and talk with your brother and sister. Learn about them, ask about them, and what does their faith mean to them, and what does their faith teach about social justice and human rights? I just recently accompanied a mutual friend of ours to an interfaith gathering on Wednesday night at the Woodbury Mosque. And he's an Orthodox Jewish, a mutual friend again. And it was really wonderful to see how open-hearted their conversation was. He wanted to learn about Islam. Muslims wanted to learn about his role as his experience being a Jewish man. And I looked at that and I thought, this is really what interfaith gatherings are all about. So when I see this, I'm very hopeful. This is one way that we can help to come to know one another so that we are not the other, but we become friends and we acknowledge our humanity. So how does this all relate to Ramadan? Ramadan is a month of fasting. It's a month of spiritual renewal, reflection, meditation, and prayer. It's a time of jihad against one's inner energy. We always hear about jihad as holy war, but really jihad is about the struggle within. It's about overcoming our own ego, our own bodily desires, our own behavioral desires. So it's really about the inner jihad of overcoming our own ego and, again, to develop a higher consciousness and ideally, inshallah, God willing, to become a better person. When we are in an elevated state, we are more tuned to God's creation. There's a saying of the Prophet recorded by a Muslim, a person who records hadith, the sayings of the Prophet. And he says, the parable of the believers in our mutual love and mercy is like that of a living body. If one part feels pain, the whole body suffers. And so it is for humanity. If one group suffers, the whole of humanity suffers. So it's incumbent upon us to give charity and to help those in oppression, and to be generous, as there are many blessings in doing so. It's also said that the Prophet Muhammad was heard saying, anyone who believes in God and the last day should serve his neighbor generously. And so it is really tonight that we hope to have generously served you. It is an honor. It is what we do during Ramadan. And part of what Ramadan teaches us is compassion. And I'm sure there's many Muslims in here right now whose stomachs are growling, and you're hungry. And it reminds us that there are many people in the world who feel hunger the same way. But we're blessed in that we get to quench or fulfill that hunger. And so we keep in mind that we do have brothers and sisters who aren't. And so we give up charity and we pray that all humanity will have social justice and will be cared for. And so with that, I would like to turn this over to Dr. Hamdy El Sawaf. He completed his undergraduate work in Cairo, Egypt. He came here to the University of Minnesota to complete his master's and doctoral degree in psychology. He is also the imam of this masjid and founder. And just as a personal note, just a wonderful human being, and I've been very inspired. So please welcome Dr. Hamdy El Sawaf.
Thank you so much, Sister Jamila, friend and person I met. I learned a lot from her. While she was speaking, my dear friend and my boss, too, Emil, who started the program, just whispered to me and said, Imam, Sister Jamila said it all. She did not leave anything for you to say. I have a lot to share. Before I share whatever I do have from you, let me first welcome all of you. Thank you so much. We're really thankful and grateful to God Almighty who enabled all of us to be together in a wonderful night, almost 90 degrees outside, too hot. But to be together in order to witness and celebrate and recognize with us the month of Ramadan and to break our fasting together. Before I keep going, I would love to call upon my dear colleague Kim from Minnesota Counseling Churches, coordinator with Interfaith, doing a lot of things. She, I would say, behind that wonderful gathering, not only tonight, but throughout the month of Ramadan, some other locations, Islamic centers, mosques, and so on and so forth. Thank you so much, Kim, for what you have done.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Thank you. It's wonderful to participate in something bigger, and so know that you are part of something that is much bigger. We've had almost 600 registrations this year. So almost 600 people have had the experience that you have of visiting one of the 18 locations that we're at, and having a chance to step outside their bubble and get to know some people in a new way. So we're thrilled that you are here tonight. We're thrilled to have partners that are willing to have us. And what makes this special then too, the interfaith work that I do at MCC, we're stepping into new waters, but we're not doing it with a spirit of debate. We're doing it with a spirit of appreciative inquiry and asking questions and saying, so tell me more about that. And that is so much more comfortable and more wonderful, and a way to really enter into relationship then with people that are from our own neighborhood and our own community. So especially if you feel like this is a worthwhile thing, please remember to share that with your faith communities, your neighborhoods, your places of work, that they can do this again next year. So we only have a couple more this year, but otherwise we will enlist you as ambassadors in sharing about this program then too. So thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Kim. Wonderful. Thank you. And again, let me greet all of you with the greeting of Islam in Arabic. Assalamu alaikum. Peace, mercy, and blessings of God with all of you. This is what we would love to greet you with. And as we all know from our knowledge teaching, Islam is the religion of peace, and that's what we're hoping for, and we're praying for, and asking Almighty to help us. We're okay here, as you can tell from this wonderful gathering. But there, and you know what I mean by there, they are not okay. So praying Him Almighty sincerely to bring peace and justice to all of those parts of the world where we see day and night, bloodshedding, torturing, killing. We ask Him for this to stop in His own term. We cannot say immediately, because He is the one who can decide. So we're praying for peace, we're praying for tolerance, we're praying for tranquility, we're praying for justice, and we ask Him sincerely to help us in this. I love to welcome all of you, although I have to mention some names. And I'm afraid that I would forget some, forgive me. But at least I would share with you, we have here 2 rabbis. Can you believe it? Rabbi Marsha Zimmerman from Temple Israel. That's not me. And why might we have quotes from Tkova congregation? For Marcy, we have known each other for years and years and years in interfaith and multi-faith activities within our the Downtown Senior Clergy Council of Minnesota for so many years, working together, helping each other, having mutual understanding, trying to help as much as we can, especially when it comes to homelessness, poverty, you name it. We decided to walk our talk and put our faith in action. This is the most marvelous piece of it when we have that wonderful and great interfaith activities, and they walk beside our monthly meeting every month, breakfast, relax and talk about a lot of things. As for Rabbi Lutz, we just met this Thursday. We were invited, both of us, to a huge conference for medical perspective to talk about end of life from the Jewish and Muslim perspective. Okay, now Rabbi and Imam are talking about that topic, how much of differences we would have. But guess what? Most of what we talked about are similar. Till the point when I forced him to go first. And he was okay with that. And once he was done with his wonderful presentation, I said, Rabbi, you said it all. You guys, audience, you just delete the word Jew, Jewish, and replace it with Islam and Muslim. This exactly would be what we believe in, as well as what the Jewish people believe in. With us also, Barbara Green, who was instrumental organizing that wonderful conference. I really, really appreciate what you have done. I'm afraid that we have only one reverend. If I'm not mistaken, my dear friend, Reverend Dan, from Lutheran Church at Columbia Heights.
High Church in Columbia Heights.
High Church in Columbia Heights. Please, please introduce yourself. I'm really sorry.
That's right. Mauro Souza, I'm Presbyterian pastor.
Presbyterian pastor. Thank you so much. Anyone else? But I welcome all of you, a dear friend, Dr. Andy Johnson from University of Bethel. Long time ago, professor of psychology. I'm a regular guest speaker for his class. He would tell me that speaking anything in psychology, but from the Islamic perspective. And I would say, amen. And I would be with him. I welcome all of you. Again, thank you so much for coming. And to share with you some thoughts, as Sister Jamila has done, What's Ramadan? What does it mean to us Muslims? What is the significance of the month of Ramadan, and where Ramadan fits in the teaching of Islam? Here in Masjid Al-Iman, we established it years and years back, and I can give you a little history about it. It used to be a mansion of one of the wealthiest people in the Northeast, and he put in his will to convert that palace or that mansion to a church. And they did for a while. Due to the lack of membership, it didn't go well, so they converted to a VA facility. Make money out of it. It didn't work either. Well, the satanic idea came to the owner, so they reverted the place to a nightclub. And of course, those wonderful neighbors in here never let them continue in this. In 3 months, or shut down. Later, they found out a group of Hindus in the Twin Cities are interested in establishing their Hindu temple. They had it for a while, and since they started their own as the biggest nationwide in Maple Grove, before they left, they were able to sell the place to a group of Buddhists. Lao Buddhists had it as a temple for a while. I was riding nearby, back and forth, seeing those dragons coming out of the building and so on and so forth. It was great to have it in here. We're looking for a space. I think maybe this would be the one we're looking for. In a while, I found out that a piece of paper this size says that for sale by owner, and the phone number is listed. It was early morning, 7 o'clock. I stopped and I called, and they answered. I said, I will be around maybe 8:45 or 9 o'clock in order to look at the place. I came, I looked at it. The first second I entered to the building, I said, this will be a house of worship for Muslims. And it is. We're very, very, very proud to have it. It's a long history of the place, and I checked many places to see any similar to this history. I did not find any. I did not find any. We're here, we're participating in a lot of activities from the Islamic perspective. We're indulged in two major things, and actually this is what would really distinguish us from some other places of worship, Muslims, where they are about 14. One thing, our interfaith activities and dialogue, and the second element, it's family counseling, which I have been practicing for so many years, helping those who are in need, especially those the new immigrants or those who are around for a while and they seek some help and some counseling. I have been utilizing my profession in that community. One thing would really characterize this place of worship, Masjid Al-Iman, the Islamic Community Central Minnesota. It's based on volunteers. We have no single person working in here or helping in here is paid. And some people say, you are the imam, you should be paid. I said, no, I'm volunteering in here. And this is what I love to do. We sweep the floor together, we clean together, we do a lot of things together, we cook together, we enjoy things together just for the sake of Him. And this is something we're very, very, very proud of. It makes us very unique, and that's why I'm really thankful and grateful to God Almighty and all of the volunteers who are working with us in this place, and welcome all of you. Ramadan. It is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. But we have to look at the 6 pillars of faith first, as what Muslims believe in. God as one, believing in angels as part of the unseen, believing in all revelations since day one of the creation of humanity till the time of Muhammad, and any revelation in between, we believe in. For some people say, you believe in Old Testament, you believe in Torah, you believe in the Bible, we do. Like it or not, we do. And if we don't, we're violating one of the codes of our faith. Believing in all prophets and messengers, from Adam till Moses, till Jesus, till Muhammad. All of them, we believe in all of them. Many times some people will say, you believe in Jesus? Yeah, we do. You believe in Moses? Yes, we do. And anyone in between, we believe in all of them. We believe in day of judgment, and we believe in our destiny, good or bad. Whatever happened to us is part of our belief. Most of the time, I would say 99%, we love to appreciate and recognize good things happening to us. But if bad things happening to us, no. Why me? Why not someone else? We have to believe in it as part of your faith. Some people would claim that, oh, who cares? This is the faith. I have my own faith too. I believe in myself. I believe in my career, in my business, in my work, and so on and so forth. So who cares? Now, in Islam, that faith has to be translated to action. And that's why we're having the 5 pillars of Islam. Believing in God as one, we bear witness that there is no one worthy worship except Him. We do not take any partners or associates with Him. Number 1. Number 2, establishing the 5 daily prayers to connect yourself, your heart, your soul with your creation in that regular basis in order to communicate with Him and unplug all of your senses from the whole world. I need that coffee break and lunch. I need my spiritual break too with Him. The only way I can have it in my regular prayer. Having my forehead touching the ground, humble yourself, remember you're created from dust and you're coming back to dust. So when you come to people around you, appreciate them. Recognize them. Relate to them to the best way ever. This is in our daily prayer. And then to come to fasting. Fasting month of Ramadan. How, why, where, who, with whom, we'll come to that details. But this will be the 3rd pillar of Islam. After that, it will come to the charitable contribution. You give to those who are poor, those who are in need, in order to recognize what He has bestowed upon us from His bounties. I have to care, I have to share, I have to take care of those who cannot make it. And the 5th one would be pilgrimage or Hajj to Mecca, to perform Hajj once a time in life if you're mentally and financially able to do it. If you can't, you're exempted. Almost 3 million people would go every year in order to perform this Hajj or this pilgrimage, recognizing everyone were equal before God, no difference whatsoever, regardless to your skin, the color of your skin, language you're speaking, country of your origin, it does not matter, gender does not matter, we are equal before Him. A wonderful recognizing that will be facing Him. Ramadan as one of the 5 pillars of Islam. Ordained upon Muslim as it was ordained upon nations before the Muslim people. They perform maybe in different ways, but for us it is ordained from God to us. Why? Why you guys Muslims, fasting, it's how many hours a day in summertime now? 15, 16, 18 now? I'm glad for you. And no food, no drink. Are you guys torturing yourself or what? What you're trying to accomplish in here? Oh, I'm gonna lose my weight. Monitor my diet and unlike the star interview the other day, it was Wednesday, and I'm sure some of you have seen it. Hunger Games, fasting, 2 days without food and without drink, maybe 1 day, maybe every other week you can do this and that. And what do you experience? Very hungry, very tired, I can't focus, I can't do that, but at least I lost some weight. Or, I challenge myself, or I can do that. Are you going to do it again? I'm not sure about that. But says fasting. For Muslims, it is much deeper than that. And 4 specific things to accomplish, which is mainly one word in the teaching of Islam, we might be able to reach righteousness. What righteousness definition in Islam? I'll be observant to Him, abiding by His teaching, never have my own human made laws to follow, but I follow his. And in the meantime, I'm conscious of what I'm thinking about, what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, what I'm uttering, what comes to my heart. Extra careful with all of them. Fasting is not only to be hungry and thirsty during the day, to abstain from food and drink. As a matter of fact, in order to reach that high level of taqwa, this is the word in Arabic for righteousness, or to have that discipline to control myself, to be able to say no to a lot of things around me, if I'm able to say no to my biological needs, food and drink. I can say no to violence. I can say no to drugs. I can say no to some other things. That's why it is a very, very intensive training month from dawn to dusk. And I'm really training myself for the rest of the year, 11 months, I will be able to do so. Okay, I'm fasting, no food, no drink. How about my mind? How am I will be fasting? Islam teach me that, Ramadan teach me that, oh, you have a second thought about that person. I can face him or her. I can see anything in front of him or her. But he is, or she is, be extra careful. That's why we see it in the teaching of Islam, dhanna, that second thought. And Islam is teaching us that inna ba'da dhanni ithm. Some of your second thought negatively about someone would be considered as a major sin. Thinking about someone, yeah. That's why you have to clear your mind about people around you. How about my vision? What I see around me? See good things or bad things? If you see good things all the time, it would help me to develop that positive attitude. Never be negative about anything or anyone around me. Always train your eyes not to see but good things. At your workplace, at your business, at your school, with people around you, at your synagogue, your church, your mosque, anywhere in the street, my eyes have been fasting. Not allow any bad things to be seen. How about my ears? What I listen to, either directly or in my whatever, or anywhere, or I'm wasting my time, what I'm listening to, or people around me. Okay, have you heard about him? She's such and such. He's such and such. What do you think? Oh yeah. It would be a wonderful meal between both of us, that person. Okay, talk about him. Watch your tongue. Watch what you're uttering. Watch what you're saying. You will be held accountable before God Almighty in the day of judgment about each and every single word you say about that person, either face to face or behind his back. Okay? Slandering, backbiting. Ramadan will teach me you have to train that tongue. Watch what you're saying. Be extra careful. What comes to my heart? What I allow to come to my heart. Through my senses, what I see, what I hear, what I say, what I think, it would come to that starch. And if I feel that starch of good things, God Almighty will grant for you. Everything will be coming out, will be definitely good. Never be bad. This is the story. If I fill a bottle of water with ink, will it give me wine? It give me ink. Full of water, it will give me water. Good water with good water. Fresh water, fresh water. Bad water, bad water. Good deeds in my heart, good deeds in my communication. Mainly when I'm fasting, I have been trying to develop a wonderful relationship between me and myself first, me and my spouse, me and my children, me and my friends, me and my colleagues, me and my classmates, me and my co-workers, everyone around me. I have to develop a good relationship with him or her. And this is actually the main teaching of Islam. How you do this? while you're fasting. You got this training. This is one. Two, think of all of those faculties God has bestowed and granted for us. The brain, thinking, the ears and hearing, the eyes and vision, the tongue and talking, and the heart. All of those wonderful gifts. If He has bestowed upon me all of those gifts, should I utilize them the way it should or abuse them? You have to answer. I give you a gift. Say it's your celebration of your birthday, Mother's Day, Father's Day, you name it. What you're going to do with that gift? Throw it away? Don't consider it? Don't accept it? Don't appreciate it? We appreciate it. But how about if that gift has been given to you by God Almighty without even asking for it? Yeah, when we were born, you remember when we were born? Did you make a list of things you asked God to give to you? We did not. But He has given all of those gifts to us as a gift from Him to utilize it the way it should, the way He's telling me to do with it, not to abuse it. And that's why that abusiveness, things we see around us, we have to think about it. Ramadan would help me to have that discipline in my life and along with people around me. Tonight, like 2 nights ago, and the night of 25th and 27th and 29th of Ramadan, Muslims are observing what's called in the teaching of Islam, Laylatul Qadr, or the night of power, the night of excellence. That night of excellence, it was given also for us Muslims as a gift, to be indulged the whole night. Night prayer, reading Quran, learning Quran, teaching Quran, related to each other. Ask Him sincerely for peace, for tolerance, for whatever you ask Him for. You spend the whole night with Him and with fellow Muslims around you in the mosque daily. You know what would be the reward of that night if you spend it sincerely and mainly for the sake of Him? Can anyone think of a reward? Any answer, please. Give me any answer. What would be the reward? Give up. I'll give you the answer. The reward of worshiping Him at that night would be equal to the reward of worshiping Him continuously, no stopping, for 83 years and 3 months. Can anyone among us in here live for 83 years and 3 months continuously worshiping Him, no sleeping, no taking break, no food, no nothing? Can anyone do? No. For Him, He would reward me for that act of worship during that night. So that one who is the luckiest, those people who can be indulged in this, the reward will be for them as if they are born new. All of your sins have been wiped off. So that's why in the last 10 days of the month of Ramadan, Muslims are observing those odd nights. Prophet of Islam Muhammad did not tell us about it. So we have to observe it, we have to find out. That's why we had the night 2 nights ago. We're going to have another one tonight, the night of 25th, 27th, and 29th. It could be one of them. Which one? We have to work as hard as we can in order to have that wonderful reward for me for the rest of the year to help me. This is the month of Ramadan. This is the essence of it. This is the significance of it. That's why we're celebrating. And that's why we are very, very, very delighted and very happy and very gracious to Him and appreciative to you to come tonight and celebrate with us. That's why we're so happy to have you with us in here. If you go anywhere and think about Ramadan, what's Ramadan? No one will tell you except me. No. I shared with you what I can, and the floor is yours now. Ask me any questions. about Ramadan, about Islam, and feel free to ask those hard-burning questions. They have been in your mind for a while, and keep in mind, you will never offend me. No. Even if you'd like to ask personal questions, if I have answers for them, I will answer you. If I don't, I say, excuse me. If I do have an answer for your questions, I will share with you. If not, I say, excuse me. I will go and search it, and I will come back to you. So now, yes,
I have a question.
please do.
How come Ramadan moves throughout the, moves each year,
Rotates
rotates?
throughout the year. Thank you so much. Excellent question. We do have the solar year, January, February, March, April, and so on and so forth. We have the Jewish year, and we have also the lunar year. Lunar year goes in according to the movement of the moon. That's why the Arabic month or the lunar month sometimes is 29 days, sometimes it's 30 days. That's why the difference between the lunar year and the solar year is 11 days. So Ramadan rotates. I have seen it in the middle of winter, January, snow, many inches, under zero, and it is Ramadan, we're fasting. But the day is shorter. Who cares if it is shorter or longer, as long as it is freezing outside. Or 17 and 18 hours in the middle of July. So that's why it does rotate. Excellent question. Thank you. Yes?
As with most faiths, it seems that Islam has several sects that we hear about. So are different sects of Islam welcome at the same mosque at Hajj?
Are you talking like Sunni and Shia
Right.
sects and so on and so forth?
Yeah.
Everyone is welcome. In Islam, in the teaching of Islam, our mosques are open to anyone. And the proof of that, you're here. Right? We welcome you. We love to see you. We love for you to come and visit with us. And this is what Islam is all about. It's open for all human beings. It is a revelation, and it is a message for everyone. Either to believe in it or learn from it or find out about it, you're very welcome. And that's why here in our mosque, Masjid Al-Iman, the Islamic Community Center in Minnesota, we welcome people to come. Most of them would do the same. Some of them, for some reasons, but not Islamic reason, they are restricted, and this is totally up to them. But in general, in the teaching of Islam, President, for the first time in the history of Egypt, 7,000 years. Okay. You know what democracy is, and you know what freedom means. And you know when you feel oppressed for so many years, and you do not have your human rights element Sister Jamila was talking about. And it is there. Yes, he came from the Muslim Brotherhood, he's extremist, hit this, hit that. I said he was elected for a term. And that term for how many years? 4 years. Let him do it. If it comes to a point to impeach him, please do. Like when it was about to have any mention him. Okay? But this is the democratic system. But not all of a sudden his former military, whatever, say, no, you're done, go, and I would confine you somewhere for months without even knowing. Oh, we're trying to save Egypt from this and that, and I don't take, these. But then, that was one of the greatest dreams of the Egyptian people, 90 millions. And it was the dream for many Muslims all over the world. They love to enjoy that model of democracy there. And as we all know, it's not a hidden agenda, it is not a hidden secret. If Egypt is leading, Egypt is the leader. If Egypt is okay, everyone around Egypt is okay. If Egypt is suffering, everyone is suffering. Gaza now, what is happening? During Mercy, when the same fight happened, back to 2012, it was a matter of 60 days. They said to Hamas is stop. This is Dr. Mercy. The Israeli, let's have a deal. We stop. We save life. No bloodshed. And it was. Now,
Hello? Nggak datang.
nothing.
Nggak datang.
Nothing. Oh,
No,
believe
no,
me
in the
that
basement here.
the 90 million
In the basement right
people
now.
in Egypt will never relax till they restore their democracy. Can I tell you something from the history? And the two rabbis will
Yeah.
attest to this, and you believing in Old Testament and New Testament.
Very
So what happened to Moses in Egypt? Rabbis, tell me. What did he do?
Okay.
Are you telling me any of those now in Iraq or in Syria or in Egypt يعني much more powerful than Pharaoh? No, I'm sorry. I believe it. He said it literally. أنا ربكم الأعلى. I am your supreme Lord, Pharaoh, to Moses and his brother Aaron and the Jewish people in Egypt. I say, what are you going to do with us? I say, I'll crucify you on the opposite direction. I will kill all of you. I will get rid of all of you. I will torture you. I will do this and this and that. I say, Moses told him, be my guest. Moses, don't play games with me. I said, I'm not playing games with you. We're leaving Egypt. Whether you allow us or not, we're leaving. And they did. And by the Red Sea, Pharaoh thought once he followed him, he would get rid of all of them, including Moses. And with the miracle part from God Almighty to Moses, Moses, you have your cane in your hand, yes, hit that Red Sea. And he did. You cross, you're safe and secure, along with all people. Pharaoh said, we're going to come after you. Be like this, go there. What happened to him? What happened? What happened? And miraculously, by the way, God has saved Pharaoh from big fish in that Red Sea in order to come back to be a sign for those who can reflect. And that's why he's mummy now in the Egyptian museum. He was not vanished. He was not eaten up by the fish. No. In order for people to go visit, see him, this is a sign of when God wants his prophet and people to be victorious against the Pharaohs. What's really unfortunate, we do not have one only. We have too many of them now. But God can, deal with them. So I'm not worried. I'm very, very optimistic. I'm not that pessimistic. Yes, they are suffering, yet the prices are go high. People now, to tell you the truth, are eating from garbage cans in Egypt and in Syria and in Iraq and somewhere else because that's social justice, that human rights is not there. Something good? What I'm wishing for here, American administration to stand up and say, we are with you to defend democracy. Would love to hear it. Because we enjoy it in here. Why not there too? It's a long topic, Dan, and you have already opened it. You go to this side or stay on this side? We're here till 9 o'clock. We're not going to break our fasting if you do not ask questions. I know water is in front of you, and I told my people, please do not bring water. Otherwise, people would like to have a sip of water, but they shy away because we're fasting. They do not want to do it. So we're here for more, yes, yes.
So, can you explain, because I think a lot of people don't know that if you read a Quran, you don't read it from the first page to the last page, that there are ways of finding the words of the prophet that are meaningful. And when two Muslims meet, or if you're at the Dome of the Rock or go to a special place, there's the fourth chapter or fifth chapter that's said to recognize. So to explain that, because in the Torah we begin in Bereshit, we begin in Genesis. The New Testament, you can read it through. It's very different, and I think it's a very powerful.
Wonderful question, Rabbi. Wonderful question. We do have the origin of the Quran was revealed in Arabic language, was the language of people around that time. 114 chapters. revelation from God throughout 23 years. God knows Muhammad was a human being, and he cannot understand everything in 1 month or 1 year or in 6 years, and he got to study and he got to teach and so on and so forth. Though we do have the translation of the meaning of the Quran in all languages. When it comes to the basic teaching of Islam, rabbis, you go with what I have mentioned earlier. You go to the 6 pillars of faith, you know them, you understand them, you believe in them, and you practice them. And you go to the 5 pillars of Islam, each one of them in the teaching, you can relate to some verses of the Quran there in order to learn from them. I'm not obligated to read the whole Quran in order to be a scholar of Islam. But once in a while I say, oh well, I would like to know more about Ramadan, and let me look at the indexing here. Where Ramadan? Oh, here it is. How many verses talking about Ramadan? 7 verses. Let me go to those verses. In different locations within there. But if you'd like to study, like say, the 2nd chapter of the Quran, the cow, which is mainly talking about Jewish people in Egypt and Moses and what happened to them, how much of suffering, and so on and so forth. Go to that chapter in order to read about what happened to them. If you'd like to read about women in Islam, go to chapter 3. And they're talking about all issues of women in Islam, equity, equality, justice, who's taking care of home, inheritance, and so on and so forth. So you can go anywhere you would like to, according to the topic you're interested in. Or you can go in order to study. So you're not obligated to go in a specific order. But you have to know the basic teachings of Islam first in order to help me how I fast, how I establish my prayer, how I perform my Hajj, how I relate to you and the people of the book, Christians and Jews, how I relate to some other people around me, how the relationship would be between men and women, parents and children, and so on and so forth. So this is the way. There are some people, it's really unfortunate, I should say, be very, very interested in Islam and say, can I have a copy of the Quran? And they do. They do have a copy of the Quran and say, when am I going to read that? What would be my starting point? And it is extremely difficult if you do not know someone who can help you in order to do so. Maybe you get lost, or maybe say, I'm not going to waste time. And by the way, we do have copies of the Quran translation there. If you'd like to pick up any of them, it's for free. You don't have to. And also there are some materials about Ramadan. It is there. And this one, Discover Islam. This would be a wonderful beginning, Rabbi. Discover Islam means I would know the basic things about Islam. I would know about it and so on and so forth. Women's issue, your relations, your commitment to things and so on and so forth. Yes?
What is the position of Islam
You want to come, you
with
can just
respect
come.
to the
Even though it's very late,
existence of the Jewish nation, Israel?
you can come, Lord, if you want to come.
The
Just come in
Islamic
the back way,
perspective of the
but
Jewish
you can just come in
people
and eat
state
such a pie.
existence? Wonderful question. Thank you. Thank you so much. As I mentioned earlier, one of the belief system in Islam, we believe in all prophets and messengers. We believe in all of them, of course, including Moses. And also part of the teaching of Islam, we understand that Jewish people and Christian people are the people of the books, the people of revelation. We can, if we want, live together peacefully, no fighting, no nothing. And you have your own religion, you have your own belief. You don't have to come to Islam. I can't impose the teaching of Islam on you in order to come to Islam. لَكُمْ دِينُكُمْ وَلِيَ دِينٍ. You have your own belief, your own faith, discipline, and you believe in it. If you like to believe in Islam, you're very welcome. This is about the belief itself. Now when it comes to Israel and Jewish people in Palestine, should we go and say, hey people, get out of here, we do not like you, we hate you, we're going to kill you? Where they can go? If they choose, along with the Palestinians, to live in peace, side by side, two states, wonderful. And this is the position of my two dear rabbis in here, and many of the Jewish scholars and many of the Jewish people. We can live together, no problem, as they did in Medina with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam for 10 years, with a truce between them. Who is responsible for what? Who should be defending what? Who should be doing what? What we can do together? What we can do separately? We can do this. But it's really unfortunate, and forgive me to say that. Wallahi. I might be wrong, you might agree with me, or you might disagree with me. Let those politicians retire, and let's sit down and take care of our own business. Rabbi, what do you think? Huh? Let's go and do it there. Wallahi, I mean, politicians would love to keep their seats. They would love to be re-elected again. You know, it's the decision, what? Grow. I hate this and hate that. No, why? Why? For what? Yani, are they very, very interested in bloodshedding and killing and torturing and so on and so forth? If you have extra money, bring it to us in here. We need it. Bye-bye. We need it. We need it for the homeless people. We need it for those who are hungry. They need it there. I believe it is politics. Forgive me. I'm not against politicians right now. We need our representative. We need them to speak on behalf of us. We need them to work for us. We need them to defend us and so on and so forth, but not to kill us. Not to get rid of us. That's the stand and the understanding of Islam when it comes to the Jewish state or Christian state or anyone around us. This is us. And of course, media would tell you something totally different. Totally different. Don't believe them. But they are working in our mind day and night. And we have the remote. Switch between channels. If you don't like channel 5, go to channel 4. If you don't like both of them, go to channel 9. If not, go to 11. If not, CNN. If not, Fox. And they are playing with our, forgive me. I have an issue with the media. One question. Yes.
So obviously, it is difficult in some jobs and in some daily work to get away from prayer. And I know we're going to try time today, which I would certainly like to do, but sometimes it's not possible.
Wonderful question.
Tell me how that practically happens.
Wonderful question. Look at God's mercy. When He has ordained upon us 5 daily prayers to perform, to practice, He has given me a window of time. A window of time. Like say, no prayer. No prayer. According to the calculation Mass has been helping us, you have this time from now from 1:30 till about 5:15. Any time in between, like you still at your workplace, you have a specific assignment you have to go for, you have some other thing. In your coffee break, within that time, go perform your prayer and come back. If you do it in congregation, this would be great because you come to the masjid, to the mosque, you see congregants around you. It has been so difficult for some people for Fridays, which is the Sabbath for Jewish, or Sunday for Christians. Yet we have many employers now have been helping Muslims to take some time off to go and perform their Jum'ah or Friday prayer, either come back to work or have a half day off and work another half day in the weekend. They can accommodate for this. And we have seen. And many people will come and say, I'm coming on my lunch break, which is supposed to be 1 hour, but I'm having now 2 hours. This is my employer has permitted me to do, and I will make up that hour later. So out of mercy of Him, He cannot ordain something beyond your ability and capability to do. Like fasting. Like fasting. Who can do it and who can't? Do you think a pregnant lady or a breastfeeding lady or someone who's traveling or someone who's been sick terminal sickness or whatever the sickness, and say, fasting from 3:30 in the morning till 9 o'clock, no food, no drink. You say, welcome. I'm not going to do it. I'm taking some medication. You're exempted. If you can make it up later, that's fine. Even if you can, there is a way in order to make it up. Just give, some charitable contribution to those who are in need, because God is just. If you can make it, do it. If you can, you are exempt. Okay? Yes?
The Christianity, Judaism, and Islam are Abrahamic religions. I'm not sure what that means or what they have in common.
That's true. There are the three of them. The Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are coming from one source, which is God's source first. But where that Abrahamic faith came from, Abraham is the father of all prophets and messengers, and from him Isaac, and from Isaac, Jacob and 12 tribes, and so on and so forth. The teaching of the three started there at his time, in order to assure us that, you guys, why you're fighting under the name and banner of Judaism or Christianity or Islam. No, it's coming from one source first. Abraham there as a prophet and as a messenger who taught the three, who believed in the three. So why we differ? That's the Abrahamic faith came from. It has been stated clearly in the Quran. There are some verses also in the Old Testament related to this issue there. Okay. If you don't ask questions, I will ask you questions. I will have some quizzes in here just to find out what do you understand from more questions. Yes.
I've noticed that when people pray in the mosque, they do this. What does that mean?
Thank you so much. Now she's coming to the details, which is fabulous, which is really, really, really good. The question was, she has seen some Muslims when they are praying in the mosque or somewhere else, they go this way, their hands up, this way, prior to their ears. Okay. When I come to the prayer, there is some specific rites and rituals I have to perform in order to prepare me for that wonderful, great, unique meeting with my Creator, God Almighty. Okay. When I come, I know the direction to the Kaaba, to the Qibla, to the sacred house in Mecca, and so on and so forth. I hear the call for the prayer. I come to the prayer, and the first thing I say while I'm raising my two hands up this way, say Allahu Akbar, meaning God is the way taller. We have, English is your native tongue, it is not mine. English is my second language. But I learned that if you say, this date is sweet, but this one is sweeter than the previous one, the third one is the sweetest. Or don't hear some comparative. The translation of the meaning of Allahu Akbar, God is greater. It did not say than. Otherwise, if you say than, so it should be another power or authority to compare him with. But stop at that point, greater, a phrase, not a sentence, in order to believe in him as a greater than anything in the whole universe. What you're afraid of? What authority? What power? What mighty? He is greater. But while I'm saying that God is greater, Allahu Akbar, I raise my both hands this way. This sign reminds you of what? If someone is raising his hands this way, huh? Surrender. Where? In the battlefield. I'm the weakest. You are the most powerful. I'm almost nothing to you. Do whatever you want to do with me. I'm coming to you. I surrender to you. See, even in my movement, in my moves, not only in what I'm saying or what I'm believing, Allah Akbar, I surrender totally to your power. And please help me. And at that week's point of view as a servant to Him, I will answer you, what do you need from me? I will help you. I will answer you. Because I humble myself. Because anyone would go, like for instance, if I need a favor from Barbara Green in here, say, Barbara, here's what I need from you, and I need it now, and it's such and such, and no hesitation, don't ask me. You think you would tell me, yeah, here's what you're asking for. Humble yourself first. Barbara, would you please, I have a flat tire outside, would you come in? Yeah, I'll help you. You seem to be nice. When I go to him and say, Allahu Akbar, here's my list of many things I need from you. I can do it, but it happened to come to you. Allah. And once you are in the prayer, ask Him for whatever. And your questions and your supplication will be answered. That's why we're really, really heavily related to the prayer in a daily basis, because we need it. Life is full of tension and pressure and agony and sadness. He is the only one absolutely who can help us with this. That's why one of the sayings of the Prophet of Islam used to tell one of his companions when the time of the prayer comes, he would tell him, Bilal, he was a Abyssinian slave, by the way, and Islam liberated him, but he used to be the one who called for the prayer from the top of the sacred house. أرحنا بها يا بلال. Bilal, comfort us with a prayer. Comfort. I need to relax. I need to put everything behind me. I don't need any tension or any pressure or anything to annoy me. I am here with you. أرحنا. This is the tranquility we need. This is actually, he is the absolute psychotherapist for me. Now, I'm shuttering my profession. Go to him, don't come to me. For questions. Yes?
Can you tell us about Eid and the place that plays in Ramadan?
Eating? Eid. The Eid. Okay. We're done fasting the month of Ramadan. We should have a celebration. We should have a recognition. We should get together and say, we're done. We accomplished that wonderful task. So it would be declared, of course, by the sighting of the moon. This is the new full moon. Ramadan is over. Following day, early morning, we'll be together in one place in order to celebrate, in order to recognize, in order to pray, in order to be thankful and grateful to Him, and having our children around us, having our relatives around us, having people around us in order to celebrate with us. Mainly the early morning prayer and a reminder, and then people will be together. If you'd like to be part of it, I can send you an invitation to celebrate with us. It won't be far away from here. It will be 2 blocks from here at the East Side Neighborhood Incorporation. We'll be celebrating and exchanging gifts, and let the children feel that they are recognized and they have those celebrations. This is the first one. The second major one is the sacrifice Eid. It's after the pilgrimage. After the pilgrimage will be another celebration. So it is 2 major ones to our I can see some leads are moving around. How many minutes?
Yeah, and so here in the U.S., you'll hear like we see community center. And if you were to go overseas, the mosque